Hello, everyone in our class. Welcome to another great week. I think I say that every time, but we are having lesson 9 coming up this week on work. And just over the course of this semester, I can tell a lot of you are really good at this principle and you've worked really hard. So some of the objectives for this week are to understand and apply the study skill. It's an active reading technique, SQ3R. And so you'll learn about what you can do in order to help better understand what you read by using this technique. Then learn about the principle of work from a gospel perspective. And finally, relate a personal experience of the blessings of work and what blessings you've received from work. Here's just a schedule of everything that's due this week. I wanted to, as always, go into the application activity. I can get there. So, one thing to be aware of is last application activity for last week for lesson 8. You set a SMART goal and make sure that you're working on that this week, because at the end of this week, your learning report will be for you to report how that went. For this week, what you're going to do is you will have watched a video clip, and then what you're going to do is think of a time in your life when you had to work really hard and because of that you received benefits. And right here it tells you what you need to include in that. Gather your thoughts, the work you completed, and the blessings that you experienced, because that will be necessary in your assignment. You have, so I got an itchy nose, okay. You have 3 choices. Depending on your comfort with technology, you can either write a story in a Word document, and in that story it tells you need to tell what the circumstances were, what the work was that you did, and the blessings that you received from it. Maybe you really wanted to be on a get a good grade in a class, and it was a class you weren't very good at. Like for me, history was never my strength. And I took a humanities class in college. It was really hard for me because the circumstances were that it just wasn't my strength or interest, and so I worked really hard to get a good grade out of that class. Even though it wasn't my best grade, I put so much work into studying and truly trying to understand the text that we had to read. And the blessings I experienced is, as a freshman in college, I was able to learn great study skills to get a pretty good grade, not as good as I usually would have preferred, but I was grateful in that class that I got the grade I did. And I think it really taught me that I was going to need to put forth great work in all my classes. I think coming from high school, going to college was an adjustment, and I didn't always put forth the greatest effort I could. And so I would explain that in a story. It should be, I want you to make sure you watch this if you're going to do this one, at least 2 pages. So it needs to be 2 pages, the whole sheet, double spaced. So in your setting, make sure it's double, the spacing is doubled. If you have questions with that, let me know. And 12-point font, that's the size. I believe this is probably a 12-point font. Save it on your computer and it'll give you instructions on how to get that into this assignment. So that's for the story. Or if you like PowerPoint or open office presentation, you can share your story there. You can choose clip art and visuals to tell on the different slides about an experience in your life of work, hard work. Once again, it's the same requirements as the paper, the circumstances, the work, and the blessings. Make sure you have at least 5 slides. That means you need to have 5, or you could have more, 6, 7, 8, 9, but you need to for sure have 5. And make sure that if you look here, it tells you what each of those slides need to be. So you need to have a title slide, and then a slide that explains the circumstances, so that's 2. A slide that talks about the work you did, a slide to talk about the blessings you received, and then one that wraps it up and gives a conclusion. If you want more, that's fine, but just make sure you at least have 5. And the last one I don't always have a lot of people do this one, but if you are good with video and like what I'm doing here, not everyone's comfortable on video, but if I can do it, you can. And so make sure it's interesting to someone that's watching, and you present your situation of your work experience. Same requirements here, the circumstances, the work you did, and your blessings. And it has a timeline, or a time limit. It needs to be at least 2.5 minutes long. So like right now, my video is already 5.5 minutes long. So I usually don't have a hard time taking up a lot of time. Make sure if you have recording, it's clear and in focus, and then you're speaking clearly. And you post it to YouTube, and so and then give me the URL in your assignment when you upload your assignment. If you are not comfortable with video, go ahead and do PowerPoint. If you're not comfortable with PowerPoint, do the story. So I will be grading it based on these things. You get 5 points for explaining how well you explain the circumstances or the situation. I'm sorry about something in my contact. 5 points for explaining the work you completed, and then 5 for explaining the blessings that you received. And look here too, make sure it's interesting. Whatever venue you choose, 1, 2, or 3, make sure it's interesting, meets the guidelines, and so I'll be using those, so watch those carefully. Then the next thing I just want to briefly tell you with the discussion board, just a reminder that there are options for what to write on your discussion board for your initial post. There are 4 different things. You pick one and use that. So if I was going to do this last one, reflect on something that was a great example of work. I can tell you right now that as I'm thinking of someone right now, I would even say my husband. He's gone about 72 hours a week doing school in class, at work, or at clinicals, and that doesn't include all the homework he has to do. So he is a great example of work. It makes me tired just watching him. And then I would need to make sure I answer these questions in my post. How his example has influenced me, what I've learned from him, and then what I hope that people can learn from my example. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm losing a contact, I think. So just remember that those prompts are there, and you just pick one of them. And make sure you're answering all the questions in that prompt that you pick. Last is our English lesson. I'm going to try to keep it short today. I'm already going long. I'm going to talk for a second about articles. Now, an article is something that comes before a noun. So these 3, a, and the, are the articles for in the English language. So I've talked to and responded with some of your feedback on your vocabulary quiz with this to make sure that you remember that we use an if it is coming before a noun that starts with a vowel. So here's an example. An apple, because a is a vowel. So it wouldn't be a apple, it's an apple. An elephant, because e is a vowel. And here are those vowels again. An orange, an issue, I have an issue or a problem. I would like an orange. So that's when we use an. We would not leave it off. So these nouns need an article before them. And so a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So an actor, so an acts, that's an A. A dinosaur, that's an animal. And then we have would be another article you could use, and that's used if the next word starts, like that first letter is a consonant, not an A, E, I, O, or U, not one of those. Then it's going to just be A. A stamp, that's a noun, it's a thing. A desk, that's a thing. A TV, a cup, a store would be a place, and that's a noun. And we're not saying what specific store, and that's why it's just a. I haven't referred to a specific place. I would just say a store. Will you go to a store and get me some broccoli? A cup, a book, if I'm talking about a police officer, I would say a police officer, unless I was referring to a specific one. And that would be a definite article, and that's when I use the. If I'm already talking about a certain police officer, and then I say, the police officer helped me. Maybe it was when I got in an accident, and I'm talking about a certain police officer. That's when we use the. So I hope this is helpful. And if I'm talking specifically about a certain door, please close the door. If someone already knows which one I'm talking about. I wouldn't tell my girls, please close a door. They could go close any door. But if I want a certain door, and you say, please close the door. It might be the front door, the back door, the bedroom door. I like the clothes you gave me. Because I'm talking about certain clothes. I wouldn't just say, I like a clothes you gave me, because it's not any clothes. It's the clothes you gave me. And it would not work to take them off. We need to have an article before a noun. We don't just say, I like clothes you gave me. Please close door. That might be how, when you're first learning English, that's how we speak, is just really trying to get the basics that we understand. And when I had language learners in my second grade class, a lot of times it was, please close door. And then over time I'm trying to teach them how to add an article. Please close the door. Please get a pencil. So I hope this is helpful, knowing that if I have a noun, I need to have something in front of it. Either a, an, or the. So let me know if you have questions on this. And other than that, I think we're ready for another great week, as always. Thank you for your perspective and your example and everything I learned from you, and I always enjoy reading through your assignments to learn more about each of you and what you are going through in your life right now and things in your past, and learning more about who you are and how you came to gain a testimony or learn about the church, or as you continually every day try to strive to be a better member of this church and children of our Heavenly Father. And I'm grateful for each of you, and grateful for this opportunity to work with you. Please let me know if you have questions. Email me anytime. And let me know if you have questions, don't know how to do an assignment, or anything else I can help with. So, have a wonderful week, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye.